What is up, everyone? I am Chris Knight, and you are watching The Real Review 3000 here with another episode of Movie Talk with Chris and Stig. I'm here, and right there is the man himself, Stig. Yes, I have found him, and he is here. Stig, how are you doing?
Doing quite well.
Very good.
Enjoying some tea and ready to talk about one of my favorite movies.
Debbie Does Dallas?
Yeah, we can talk about that too.
Oh, okay. No. Yes, indeed. We're going to talk about aliens today, and aliens. Make sure you mention that. People sometimes. I think sometimes when you mention alien, people automatically jump to this movie. I mean, and I'm not saying people in our groups, but casual moviegoers sometimes when they hear alien, they think this movie because this movie was significantly, I think, more hyped, and there's a larger audience that watches this movie over the first movie. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. I see more people saying this one is their favorite over the first one. But, if I had to pick a favorite, it would change every week.
Oh, yeah,
like sure. The first two for different reasons, and I like them equally. So.
Indeed. Okay, so let's see. We got Parrot Head and Angelus Draven in the chat already. I appreciate you guys being here. I will type it. What I just said is, "Hey, how you doing?" Okay, so let's just jump right into this. We'll bring out our lovely cards. We're going to bring up the first one, which our first segment is, as always, first impressions. So I will let you go. As always, you are my guest, and this is your show too, but I will let you go first.
Well, this is the third Alien movie I watched. I watched the first one first. It scared the shit out of me. I was probably 10.
Mm-hmm.
Then I watched the third one, and a lot of stuff is referenced in it from the second one. I always wanted to watch that one, and all of a sudden, a friend of mine had a bootleg director's cut of the second one, so I borrowed it, and holy crap, it blew me away. The second one is so well made, and I just kept watching and watching and watching, and to this day, I've never seen this, the original cinematic version. I've only seen the director's cut.
I think I got it. I'll send it to you in an email, or I'll send you a link to it in an email or something.
Oh, I'm sure I can find it.
Oh yeah.
Actually, the Blu-ray probably has both versions.
That's true. It probably does. Yeah. I mean, first off, I know the first thing I noticed, and again, this is after, I guess I would say, rewatching it, because I saw a lot of this stuff, like probably in a time of my life that I shouldn't have. I was very young when these movies came out. Well, I was 9 when this one came out, and I got to see it probably when I was like 9.5, 10 or something like that. It came out July 18th of 86, so I probably saw it later on that year. Like my uncle probably showed it to me or something. But the one thing when I got older and really got into movies, when I went back and watched it, I was like, it's very obvious who directed the first movie and who directed the second movie. And once you get to know Ridley and Cameron and their directorial style, this is a very much a James Cameron movie. The way it's paced, the way it's shot, the way the action is done, it's classic James Cameron. And so this movie has, I would say, a much higher rewatchability to the first one.
Yeah, and they both have an atmosphere, but I think it's the first one has a more eerie, oppressive atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
This one has more of an you're surrounded by enemies.
Yeah,
atmosphere, I guess.
Well, when it gets going, it doesn't stop.
Yeah,
it's pedal down, full speed ahead. I mean, and that's probably the reason why it's so wonderfully held. I mean, I think Alien is a great movie to watch. I think the reason why most people won't rewatch it as much as they rewatch this is because it's more something that a true cinema geek, a person that likes to dissect movies and dig into movies and watch shooting styles or look for that, that thing that they missed the 5,000 times before.
Yeah.
That's what Alien is for.
It's Alien is like a horror masterpiece, like like The Exorcist and all that. It's rewatchable for sure, but this one is more you watch it again for different reasons and you watch it more often, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
It's I guess it's more entertaining, more in your face entertainment in this one than Alien is. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's the directors. There's people like you and me will go back and we'll watch Blade Runner 5,000 times, but we love that movie, and that movie to us has certain there's things that we really hold dear about that movie, but a lot of people won't, and I think that goes back to the fact that Ridley, when he makes a movie, it's very detail oriented, very in depth, and there's a lot there to process. Some people don't like to think that much during a movie. Aliens and Cameron's directing style lends to rewatchability because it's quick, it's fast. The editing style is fast and loose, but it works, and it's very exciting to watch.
Would you say that Ridley makes you think, Cameron makes you watch?
Yes, definitely, for sure.
Yeah, something like that. But they're both great, and I've seen people say, Alien is the best one, and I've seen people say Aliens is the best one, and I can't I can't disagree with any of them because they're both right.
Yeah, exactly. I think that they're both masterpieces in their own right. Okay, so let's jump into our second segment, Behind the Camera. Talk about James Cameron. James Horner, of course, did music. Yeah, I mean, but James Cameron, I'm trying to remember. This wasn't his first film, was it?
No, he had done Terminator before this one.
That's right. Yeah, this is 84 was Terminator, and this was the second.
He even said that he used Terminator as practice for Aliens because he was doing stuff in Terminator so he could learn how to do it for Aliens, because Aliens had been written a while ago, and they were supposed to do a sequel shortly after Alien, but then there was some disputes and all that, so it took 7 years for the sequel to be made, and that brought hype with it too.
I'm gonna say, okay, so I think I'm gonna go look back here. I want to make sure that I'm correct about this because I don't like. So, Xenogenesis was his first movie. Oh, that's right. I forgot he did that. Rock and Roll High School. He did Rock and Roll High School with the Ramones.
And he did one of the Piranha movies.
Yes, that was Piranha 2 in 82. So, okay, so his first big movie that he did, I would say, Rock and Roll High School is a niche market, but I liked it. But 1981, he did Escape from New York.
What?
And then, Escape from. Have you ever seen Escape from New York?
Yeah, that was John Carpenter.
Well, he was a part of Escape from New York. I don't know what he did. Hold on, let me just. Oh, cool. Maybe I was wrong. Okay. That's right. Okay, so he did visual effects, photographer and mantle artist. Or
Actually, that
artist.
makes sense because all the background stuff, it does look like early Aliens background work.
Yeah. So Xenogenesis was his first one in 78. And then Piranha 2, he was the writer and director. And then Terminator, writer and director. Rambo First Blood Part 2, he was the writer for that. Then Aliens, he wrote and directed. The Abyss. So this is when he gets into his, like, it's almost like every 2 to 3 years. He did the Terminator in 84, Aliens in 86, The Abyss in 89, 91 was Terminator. Then the next thing he did was True Lies. So he had a string. Well, actually, then the next movie after True Lies he directed was Titanic. So he had a very, very strong string of directorial movies.
Do you know who was in Piranha 2?
You mean
Yeah, Lance
actors?
Henriksen. Lance Henriksen played the policeman.
Mm-hmm.
So Cameron used him a lot in his early days.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah, but I'm looking through here. Of course, Ghost of the Abyss is that was a documentary about Titanic. Because after Titanic, everything he thought about almost was Titanic. Aliens of the Deep is another documentary he did, which was basically about that type of thing. He's been to what is it called? The deepest part of the ocean.
Yeah, the trench.
Yeah, Marianas Trench, I think. Isn't that it? Yeah, but he's done that. I mean, like I said, as soon as he got done with Titanic, he became very fixated on Titanic.
Did you see the Family Guy episode that had James Cameron in it?
I'm sure I have, but I don't remember it.
It's Stewie and the dog takes one of those mini subs, and they dive down near the Titanic to do a prank on James Cameron because he's down there taking pictures of the Titanic. And they use these, those grabby arm things on the sub.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna pull his pants down.
Oh, Jesus.
And they accidentally rip him in half.
Oh, God.
Yeah. It's insanely amazing.
It's funny. So he also has, he's been on Mad About You. Let's see here. He was, I don't know. He's played characters even on Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles. He's done a lot. I mean, he's done a lot of stuff. But like I said, his big fixation there for a long time was Titanic. And now his fixation is back on Avatar. Because I guess 2022 and 2024 are the next two they're talking about, which I don't know if that's going to happen because I'm not too hopeful for.
No, I think he's done shooting a lot of it.
Yeah,
it's going to happen, but
I'm just not very hopeful for Avatar. I was never a huge fan of Avatar.
I like the how the effects worked and all that, but I wasn't hooked by the story.
No.
But who knows? Maybe he does something that makes it brilliant.
No, yeah. I mean, hey, I'll give him a chance. I'm trying to think here. Yeah, Terminator Dark Fate. He just did the story and was producer, but he did not direct. I don't know. I didn't. I know, and mock me if you will. I didn't mind the movie. There's a lot of stuff you have to kind of get past, but I guess the time travel element of the whole series makes it easier for me to get past it because it's very, I don't know, convoluted to begin with. But I wonder if he had directed that movie, if it would have done better.
Yeah, it didn't help that the director said, they had added a lot of stuff so that misogynists would piss their pants, and that doesn't help. No,
for sure it doesn't. All right, so James Horner. We brought James Horner up quite a bit. He's just done a ton of movies, and he died 5 years ago,
something like that. He actually only spent 3 weeks on the score for this movie. He was supposed to get 6 weeks, but he only got 3. And I have to say, he did a hell of a job.
Oh yeah,
he could not have done this better.
Yeah, I mean, he did the Wrath of Khan. He did 48 Hours. Something Wicked This Way Comes.
I think Willow.
Gorky Park, Star Trek 3, Cocoon, Commando, Aliens, of course, this An American Tale, Project X, which actually I like that movie. A lot of people don't, but Willow, Red Heat, Land Before Time, Cocoon: The Return, Field of Dreams, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Glory, another 48 Hours, The Rocketeer, American Tale 2, basically Fievel Goes West. I'm looking through all this. Patriot Games, Hocus Pocus, The Pelican Brief, Clear and Present Danger, Legend.
Did he do Gladiator?
Braveheart, Casper, Apollo 13, Jumanji. I'm going down the years, so give me a second. Courage Under Fire, Titanic, of course, Deep Impact, The Mask of Zorro, Bicentennial Man, Perfect Storm, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Enemy at the Gates, A Beautiful Mind, Wind Talkers, The Missing, Bobby Jones, Stroke of Genius. I'm looking to see here. Avatar, The Karate Kid, the remake, and The Magnificent Seven was the last one that he did. The Amazing Spider-Man. No, he didn't.
Still, he's a beast.
Mm-hmm. Well, so much so that The Magnificent Seven, which I think is a pretty darn good movie, that was his last one, and it was released a year after his death. So,
yeah, the remake.
Yes.
I didn't think that was bad at all.
No. He also did a theme for CBS Evening News, Tales from the Crypt. Interesting. No, lots of stuff there. Yeah, so very, very impressive career. I mean, we've talked about it. I mean, he's come up in several stuff that we've talked about.
And you also have Gail Ann Hurd, who was instrumental in Cameron's success from the get-go. She actually has a cameo in the movie. She plays Vasquez's hands holding rifles, because Vasquez couldn't. Well, the actor didn't hold it right. So,
which is funny because if I remember right, we'll get into that here in a second. We're going. Hey, David, what's going on? Wookiee supremacy. Good to see you guys. I thank you so very much for being here. Okay, so let's go to the cast. That is our next segment, the cast. Yeah, so of course Sigourney Weaver is in it. Michael Biehn. We've talked about this a lot. That James Cameron likes using Michael Biehn.
Yeah, and you have Lance Henriksen as well, and Bill Paxton. All of those three feature heavily in James Cameron movies.
Yes, indeed.
Sigourney Weaver was very hesitant to be in it because she didn't want to do sequels.
Yep.
But she saw the script and she signed up immediately. She badly wanted to be on.
It's funny because you say that, she didn't want to do sequels. And this is something that we hear, like Michael Keaton has said it in the past. Oh, shoot. Now I can't think of his name. Batman from the Nolan series.
Bale.
Christopher Bale said that too. He says, I'm not a big guy on sequels, and yet he did the trilogy.
And one of the Terminator sequels.
Mm-hmm. And then Sigourney Weaver said that, but she's done this, and she's done Ghostbusters. And I think she's in a new one. So there's another trilogy. There's another group. Michael Bain. I don't think he's ever said anything about that. Michael Bain just enjoys acting, or did enjoy acting. Yeah, but a lot of people in the past have said that, and it. Well, Bill Murray's another one, but he's done it. So yeah, because that was the whole thing for why he wasn't in Caddyshack 2. He didn't want to do a sequel. He's just like, nah.
Yeah, we have Miss Martin Muses in the chat as well.
Oh, well, hello. How you doing, Miss Martin Muses? I greatly appreciate everybody here. Vasquez's actor is in Titanic 2. Yes, indeed.
And in Terminator 2.
Yes, indeed. Paxton and Bane are underappreciated, and I cannot agree more with you, David. They were both great actors. Michael Bain is still with us, but I don't think he even acts anymore, because we've talked about this before. He had a brain injury.
He acts. He has his own company.
Does he still? Okay.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of Grindhouse movies and stuff like that. It's actually quite awesome.
Well, I can see him doing that. He's the perfect actor for something like that.
They're just under the radar. I've seen a couple of them, and they're actually, the ones I've seen have been pretty damn good. Apparently, he declined being on the Expendables, I seem to remember, which is a shame.
Sorry, I got to turn off my alarm. Okay, yeah. So, the Bane, Paul Reiser's in this. I don't know. He didn't do a ton of movies, but I like how he plays his character in this.
Oh yeah, he's more of a comedy actor.
Yes, and he's perfect though, the way he plays this. I mean, even the way at the beginning when he sits down with Ripley, and he basically says, hey, I know that all this crap's happened to you, but yeah, you got to go. He kind of has he's kind of pushy in a way that you would not expect somebody the way he looks and stuff. He does kind of have that like firm hand there at the beginning in a weird way.
Yeah, and we also have Michael J. White, isn't it?
Yes.
One of his earliest acting roles.
Mm-hmm.
He's not in it a lot though, but still, it counts if you're in an Alien movie.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that kind of get picked off pretty quick in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Bill Paxton though definitely is very, very memorable in this.
He's annoying as heck. But as you rewatch it, you kind of realize that, hey, this is normal reaction.
Yeah, but what's funny is when I watch this movie, it reminds me of his character in Weird Science. It's almost the same character.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Why don't you put her in charge? Paxton makes me laugh here with the panic.
Yeah, it's one of the best lines is he's been whining, all doom and gloom for half the movie. Mm-hmm. And then they put up those miniguns that kill a bunch of aliens, and then they run away. And then he goes, maybe they're demoralized. And I was like, yeah, look who's talking.
Yeah, his character in this is, again, he's a supporting role, but he shines bright.
Yeah. Him and Vasquez.
Yes.
She had never acted before.
Mm-hmm.
She got the role because it was a weightlifter.
Yes.
She did.
Goldstein.
Yeah, she did well.
Mm-hmm. And what do we? Yeah, she's the mother in Terminator 2.
Yeah, stepmother.
Yes.
Janelle.
Yes, and I'm trying to see here what else she's done.
She was one of the cops in Lethal Weapon 2. The one that gets killed by she's jumping on the springboard at the pool and gets blown up.
Yep.
And
One
she
of the Black
plays,
Squad.
and she plays an Irish lady in Titanic.
Mm-hmm. You're right. Yep, I remember that. Irish Mother is what she's credited as.
And what's her name? The director that did The Hurt Locker. She did a vampire movie, Near Dark, which has Lance Henriksen, Bill Paxton, and Jeanette Goldstein in it as vampires. So half the Alien cast is in it, which is also an awesome movie, by the way.
They do not have that on here. Or wait, maybe they do. Huh. Interesting.
It's from '89, maybe something like that.
Yeah, like I said, they don't have it on here. That doesn't mean she wasn't in it. That I don't believe everything I read on the internet. Yeah. So let's go and let's talk about the story. So let's just kind of pick up right at the beginning of the film. Ripley is she's been in stasis.
Yeah, cryo sleep.
Yeah.
Rescue team finds her. You actually see the harpoon thing when they open the door. It's actually right where she left it in the first movie. That's a little cool bit of trivia for that scene.
Mm-hmm.
So Cameron did his homework. Everything was left as it was at the end of Alien.
Mm-hmm.
She gets rescued.
It's like 57 years later.
Yeah, and she's told her daughter has passed away from old age.
But that, I believe, is only on the director's cut.
Could be. I haven't seen the other one.
I believe in the original they cut that scene, which I don't like because I think it even solidifies who her character is as the movie goes along. Because here's, later on in the movie, it's really important that you know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it explains so much more the way she is as you go along. I mean, not that you can't figure it out or not that it doesn't work without it. It really shows how tough of a character she really is. How
it actually gives her an extra bit of motivation later in the movie.
Mm-hmm. And also it does show that just because she's a tough female character, she does have feelings. She can break down because she cries about it. She's told all of a sudden that during the time you were gone, your daughter died, and there's nobody left all this stuff is dropped right there at her feet. And again, I think Paul Reiser tells her this, and it's just sort of matter of factly, hey, you don't have anything here, so you might as well.
Go. And they do something right after she's reporting to the company, and you get some exposition about what happened in the first movie. And it feels natural too. It's not just info dumping. And she explains where they found the derelict ship in Alien, how the alien basically took out the whole crew.
Yeah, she talks about finding the egg and all the stuff they did that they shouldn't have done.
And then she's told that there's a colony on that planet, and they haven't seen any derelict ship at all.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't believe her until
they're going to charge her and for the death of the crew, for the loss of equipment.
Not for the death of the crew.
I thought that they were going to do it for the death.
No, it's from the loss of the shipment and the ship, because she's the one who blew it up. The crew was already dead when that happened, but and she loses her basically pilot license, right?
Yes.
So she has to start working at docks and stuff.
Yeah. She's basically reduced down to the lowest thing she could be.
Yeah. And then it skips to the planet where some some colonists have gotten a message from high up that they should investigate a certain area on the planet, and they find a derelict ship. It's also it's the same model from the first movie. They managed to track it down because some collector had bought it, and they were allowed to use it in the second movie. And sure enough, a couple of the mom and the dad, Newt's mom and dad actually, goes into the ship. Soon after, they return, and the dad has a facehugger on him.
Yes.
So that's our introduction to Newt. It's important later on, a little girl.
Again, I think that part is only a director's cut thing too.
Could be, but I'd say that one is important too.
There's a lot of stuff in this movie again that I believe is important that they cut out, but it's I don't know if it's not absolutely necessary. Finding the girl alone on the ship or in the colony area is, if you find a girl, you're going to try to protect her. So I guess it doesn't necessarily mind, but it does let you know why she's acting the way she does.
It also ties into something later about how this alien outbreak actually happened.
Yes. Kashyyyk Queen, good to see you, Amber. Good to see you. Captain Trek, good to see you too. Elihu, very good that you stopped by. I do appreciate that. Yeah. So again, you've only seen the director's cut. I've seen both, but I remember more, I think, the original cut of this. And I know the scene you're talking about, but I don't think it's in the original cut. But like I said, I prefer the director's cut of this because, again, sometimes just because you cut something out because you don't feel like it's necessary, sometimes it's worth the time to leave it.
Yeah, because it's already a long movie.
Yes.
So something had to be cut for the cinema. But I think the people who went to the cinema would have been fine with being there 30 minutes more.
Yeah.
In this case, anyway.
I'm looking it up right now to see the difference. In the theatrical version, the final close-up of Ripley in the inquest scene crossfades to her sitting in the apartment holding an unsmoked cigarette. But in the special edition, there is instead a hard cut to it's to the surfaces of LV 426 where two substantial new scenes take place. So yeah, that was different. And the part where she's told about her daughter is different. I think you get a quick understanding that it's like that you're understanding that her daughter's dead somehow in the original, but they actually put the scene in the special edition, which again, I think is much better because they are very important scenes, but the movie still works without them.
Yeah.
But,
and then Ripley is having nightmares and she's struggling with what happened in the first movie, and she is woken up by Burke, who calls her and says, "We've lost contact with the colony."
Yes.
So I'm guessing there's been a time skip there, a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's probably like, well, what I'd say is the way that the beginning is that they're in contact with this colony. They know that that's where she was. And they say, well, nobody's found anything. And then they find it. And then I'd say the scenes that you see where where Newt's parents have what happened to them happen, that we're shown that basically the colony is going down. And then that's when you understand after Burke calls her that obviously the whole place has been taken over by the alien. So
Yeah, and Ripley asks him. Oh, she calls him back because she declines first, and then she calls him back and says, "We're going in to exterminate them, right?" And Burke says, "Yes."
yeah,
And she signs up. She's going to be there as an observer and as an advisor, basically.
indeed.
And they're going in with soldiers.
Mm. David says Burke is a real weasel, gets his comeuppance later. That's indeed right. Tommy, the guinea pig collective man himself. Good to see you in the chat. Thank you for modding as usual. I do greatly appreciate you being here.
Speaking of creepy aliens, here's Tommy.
Yeah. Tommy, Stig was telling me some interesting stuff about you before we came on live.
Transformers related.
Yes. You shouldn't do that with those. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, that's an exhaust pipe, man.
Okay. Yeah, so she agrees to go. They go. And of course, this is really where this movie changes. The whole Marines thing. They actually send in this team of trained Marines, where in the first one, they were all scientists and miners and different things like that, that they weren't trained for that.
Yeah.
So right away, you get the feeling, okay, they're going in, guns blazing, they're going to kick some ass, and this is a whole different movie.
Oh yeah, and they're most of the main ones are getting their little introduction thing. You know, Bill Paxton's character Hudson, shown to be a bit of a douche, and
yeah, and
one of that.
And they also go on. They fly there on a Navy ship or on a Marine ship, Navy ship, whatever you want to call it. It's a full decked out military ship.
Yeah, with nukes.
Yes. Then they also at this time, Ripley is introduced to Bishop, which already puts her even more at a tense state because of
but Bishop's he's an android.
Yes, and oh god, now I can't remember the name of the android from the first movie.
Ash,
thank you.
You know, this is a thing in the Alien movies. All the androids are alphabetical.
Mm-hmm.
You have Ash, Bishop, Call, and then David in the new one. So A, B, C, D.
True. Which is funny though, because David is actually then the first.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. By released title, yes, it's all alphabetical. But I think the reason why they call him David in that is because he's supposed to be the first.
Yeah.
But absolutely, she is not happy about the android.
Nope.
Everybody else doesn't get it because everybody else is just standard practice type stuff.
Yeah, and Ripley also offers to help. Mm-hmm. She asks Apone, the guy in charge. Excellent character, but not in the movie too much. Probably one of the biggest badass on the crew.
Yes.
And she operates the lifters, which is basically an exoskeleton forklift truck.
Well,
in a sense.
Yeah, when they're loading up, they don't know who she is really. They just know that she might have some insight on this. Like she's more just there to observe and give them information if they need it. So the Marines, of course, think that she's just a woman and that she can't do anything necessarily. They talk about how Vasquez is, she's not really a woman. She's, a badass and all this. But that's when Ripley says no. And says, I'll help you. And she gets in the thing. And if I remember right, he's kind of doubting that she can do it and starting to give her an idea of, okay, you got to do this. And she just jumps in the thing and just picks up the stuff and does it immediately. And he's like, oh, okay, well then, guess you know what you're doing. Again, we talk about this so much in our groups, in our community. That's a strong female. Oh, you can't do this. Oh, you want to bet? Watch it.
Yeah, and it's actually
for this because we've seen where she came from. So
Yeah, she's been working with that stuff earlier because she got demoted.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah, so they load up, they go out there, and they have this cool little like urban assault vehicle, I guess a UAV I would call it. The vehicles in this are very surreal almost. That urban assault vehicle is just all clad with armor. Again, everything about the beginning of this movie makes you think they're just going to go in here, they're going to find the aliens, and it's going to be a much different movie. It's going to be like an extermination movie where this time the humans have the upper hand. We know what we got Ripley, so we know what we're going up against. We got the guns, we got the nukes, we got everything we need. So it really, the beginning of this movie sets you up to believe, one, we know that the colony is taken over by the aliens. Two, they're coming in with heat, and they're going to take care of the problem. So the feel right up front is that this is going to be a different movie in the sense that the humans are going to be the attackers.
Yeah, and they even boast about it, especially Bill Paxton's character.
Oh shit, Tommy! I'm so sorry to hear about that.
I'm so sorry, Tommy.
Yeah. Keep in touch with us and let us know if there's anything that any of us can do, or I don't know. But so sorry.
Sending good thoughts and wishes, Tommy.
Yes. All right, Tommy. Thank you for being here, but please do go. I understand completely. Okay. So I'm trying to remember where we were, but okay. So the other thing I think we find out about the surface of LV-426 is that the colony that was placed there has been, I think it's called terraforming, where they've basically made the surface livable.
Yeah, it has an atmosphere now.
Yes. So that's an important part of this too. But it's like a fusion power atmosphere processing station, if I remember right. So it's a little different than that. But so when they get there, they find the colony deserted. Makeshift barricades and some stuff, but they don't find any bodies. They do find, I think, 2 live face huggers in tanks.
Yeah, and they find a log for it,
Mm-hmm.
and they realize the subject who had been face hugged had been killed while they tried to take it off.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also some little telltale signs where there's acid on the floor.
Yes. Well, Ripley recognizes it. She's going around and she's recognizing a lot of the trademarks that she's dealt with already.
Also, there's the mystery of the half-eaten donuts.
Mm-hmm. Yes, which pretty quick while they're looking around, that's when they find Newt, I believe.
Yeah, something shows up on the homing thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's moving, and they think it might be one of the aliens. It turns out it's Newt. And this is where Michael Biehn gets his regular James Cameron injury. He gets bitten in the wrist. It also happens in The Abyss and Terminator 1.
Yes. Excuse me. Yes. I think you mentioned that on Terminator 2. Yeah.
Probably 1.
Maybe 1. But yeah, again, Cameron has, I think they've even mentioned it, both of them on behind the scenes interviews about how that's kind of just the running thing. It'd be interesting if they got together again, if they make it happen again.
They Cameron wanted Michael Biehn to play the villain in Avatar.
Oh, really?
Yeah, But he realized since he had Sigourney Weaver, he didn't want it to be to feel like an alien, alien reunion.
Mm-hmm.
So he went with Stephen Lang instead. Arnold Schwarzenegger was also considered, actually.
I've heard that, and I don't know why they go away from that. It's like, I think the best example of why fight it would be Indiana Jones. George Lucas was like, no, I don't want to use Ford. I don't want to use Ford. I don't want to use Ford. Then they used Ford, and look what happened. It's like sometimes overthinking it is what hurts a film. I'm not saying that if Bean or Schwarzenegger or both of them were in Avatar that I would have liked it better, but there's a chance.
Stephen Lang did an excellent job.
Yes, he did. I mean, and again, Avatar's not a horrible movie. I don't dislike it. It's just not. There's a lot of stuff there that just is unnecessary, I believe. But I digress. So yeah, they find Newt, but at the same time, as they're tracking whatever, they start really seeing that they're kind of outmatched and outwitted in a way.
Yeah, and they set up base in the command center thing, and they can tell that the aliens are in the reactor or under the reactor because that's where it's hottest.
Yes.
And then Gorman decides, the who's in charge. No, sorry, Apone. No, it's Gorman. Gorman's in charge, actually. And he's a rookie. He's only had 2 simulated missions before. Incompetent. And he sends them in. Basically, guns blazing.
Yes.
And that's when it goes really bad.
Yeah, I mean, they're picked off really quick. I mean, at the end of that scene, how many are left? There's
Vasquez, Hicks,
like 4 or 5.
Hudson and Gorman.
Yeah, and Ripley, of course. But Ripley's actually in there with the command vehicle because they don't want her. She's just there as a observer and as a information person. If I remember right? Because at one point doesn't she take the headset again in this and said, "Get out of there," or something like that.
Gorman completely collapses mentally because he tells them to not use armor piercing ammo because Ripley points out, if they start shooting in there, you could set off the reactors, right?
Yes.
So they have to use shotguns and flamethrowers only. Vasquez's boyfriend Drake and her decide to hide away some ammo anyway, which has a negative effect later.
Yes.
Aliens come out of the wall. It's full chaos. Gorman can't give orders properly. They're getting picked off one by one. Full chaos. And Ripley takes charge and just starts driving the vehicle through the wall.
Yep.
To get to the soldiers.
Yeah. And again, like I said, up until that point right there, you kind of have a feeling. I mean, I kind of remember, again, going, not the first time I saw this, of course. But again, as I got more into movies and understanding movies, up until that point, it kind of feels like they're just going in there to take care of the problem and that's it. And then you find out that's not that simple.
No, it's absolutely not that simple.
And that's where this movie takes a giant turn. I mean, the feel from the first movie and the second movie up until this point is still very different, but at the same time, it's kind of similar. But in this case, they're going in cocky, like they're going to take care of the problem. And the first one, they're exploratory. So again, thinking versus action based.
And if they had been allowed to use their ammo, they might have won.
Yes.
But they're not. And it gets bad fast.
Yep.
All of them except Hudson and Vasquez gets injured. Gorman gets an ammo crate or something in his head. Gets knocked out for quite a while in the movie. I think Hicks gets his arm burned a bit from acid.
Yes.
And yeah, they're down to bare bones, and the ammo also blows up. The Apone, the sergeant, gathers the ammo, and it gets set on fire by a flamethrower or something by accident.
Yeah, that scene probably takes all of about 5, maybe 10 minutes max, and there's so much mass chaos and just that's when this movie flips on its end. It just goes from the one side of things to the worst possible thing, and of course, this is where Ripley kind of is playing the I told you so, and just kind of takes over because she knows what has to be done now.
Yeah.
She goes into that mode. And again, I guess it's kind of a shock in both movies, but her body, even while in shock, kind of goes into a programmable mode of, I have to do this. This has to be done. This is how we have to do this. It's kind of very systematic at that point. She shuts down. She's not going to get scared per se. She's
scared shitless, but she does it anyway.
Yeah.
Which is a sign of a strong character.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, again, I wouldn't use the word scared. I would say, I don't know. It is a heightened alert state of, yes, scared is in that, but the scared isn't as much the driving force as much as that becomes your respectful towards the threat because you know the threat.
She's the sort of person you want to have around in a crisis.
Yes. It just kind of, everything shuts off. You know the situation you're in. And yes, you do understand the threat. You understand how bad things are. But the method of how to get out of it is higher placed than that threat because you understand the need for action.
Yeah.
And again, when she drives through the wall, that's right away when you realize that. So let's kind of move along.
They leave. They call the drop ship to pick them up. It goes bad because an alien has gotten aboard the ship, takes out the pilot, and it crashes in front of the survivors.
Mm-hmm.
Which is when you get two of the iconic lines. You know, Bill Paxton saying, "Game over, man, game over," and then you have Newt saying, "They mostly come out at night, mostly."
Mm-hmm. I love it. Game over, man. Game over.
Yeah.
Just the way Bill Paxton just has a way of delivering certain lines, and that's one of those lines you can hear his voice when you hear that.
He's great at playing frightened.
Yes, indeed. Yes. Let's see here. Yeah, the ship crashes. They barricade themselves in the colony. That's about the time that Ripley discovers Burke's plan.
That's later. Yeah, she has looked through the files,
and
she finds out that Burke was the one who sent the colonists to the derelict ship.
Yes,
because she had told him where it was.
Mm-hmm.
So he had sent him there, and he says it was just a bad call,
But his intentions is what was crazy, because I think he wants to use the alien or the blood and something. It's like he's wanting to make biological weapons.
We found that out a bit later, though, after he does that thing with the jars.
Mm-hmm.
But they realize that Bishop gives them bad news
Yes.
because the reactor is leaking and it's about to blow within 24 hours or something.
Yeah.
Which means they can barricade themselves, but they can't stay.
Yes.
And Bishop volunteers to call the second dropship from the main ship, but he has to do it manually. So he gets to go through a pipe all the way to the, I guess, the satellite dish array thing.
Yeah, they Newt and Ripley go to sleep in the med laboratory.
Actually, before that, they put out miniguns in the hallways, and the aliens try to attack.
Yes.
And they're pushed back, and they probably have a hell of a lot of losses. And then things quiet down. Ripley and Newt take a nap in the med lab. When they wake up, the jars holding the live facehuggers have been tossed into the room, and they're empty. So there's facehuggers in there with them. They try to signal, make the rest of them aware of it through the cameras, but Burke turns them off.
Yes. Basically, I think if I remember right, then that's when Ripley accuses Burke of doing it so that he could take them back past quarantine.
Yeah, because they were impregnated.
Yes. Yeah. So, trying to remember.
And that's when they start getting attacked again.
Yes.
And then they realize the aliens are inside the barricades, which shouldn't be possible. And they all move into the main room, and they figure, the aliens are inside the room. It shouldn't be possible. Hicks looks up in the vents in the ceiling, and that's where they are, and they start dropping down. Hudson actually goes ape shit. He grows some balls.
Yep. He
kills
dies.
A bunch of them.
Kills a bunch of them. Well, by this time they're using live rounds, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, and I mean, he's mowing them down left and right, and but I mean, all for naught.
He gets dragged into the floor. Burke closes the door and runs away, only to get caught by an alien.
Yep.
The rest of them escape through the vents. Gorman runs out of ammo. Vasquez goes to help him. She gets injured. They blow themselves up, which causes Newt to fall down the vent into the level below. And she gets caught by aliens. Hicks gets injured, sprayed by acid.
Yep.
So they get him to the ship because Lance Henriksen has gotten the ship. But then Ripley needs to go into basically the hive.
Well, she refuses to. She refuses to abandon Newt, and this is where I think a lot of questions might come up in this movie. The way that the first movie portrays everything is that they killed everything that was there. Obviously, we find out they didn't, but it's almost like they remember Ripley because they don't kill Newt. They've obviously got enough brains to know that Ripley is trying to protect her, which leads me, has always led me to believe that because they hold Newt, that they're doing that because they know Ripley's going to come after her, which means they're after Ripley now.
I think it's just because they say it earlier that some of the soldiers are still alive and they're being cocooned.
Yes, there's the cocoons and the and several of the colonists are found and stuff like that. But I don't know. I've always felt that there's a definite, like, there's just a memory of something of her or something. I don't know. That it's again personal idea there. There's nothing that absolutely suggests that. But yes, she has to go. The eggs begin to hatch.
And this is where we get a lead scene too. She finds Burke, who has been cocooned as well, and he says he feels the alien in his chest. And
yeah.
Ripley gives him a grenade.
Yep.
So he can blow himself up.
Yes.
I wish they'd kept that scene too. I mean, because it's a better conclusion for Burke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, she finds Newt, and then she walks right into the nest itself, where the alien queen is.
Yep, and the eggs start opening. She uses her flamethrower to kill those.
As she goes ape shit.
Yes.
On the whole nest, the alien queen freaks out.
Yep.
Breaks free and starts chasing them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they barely make it on the ship because Bishop shows up as promised at the last minute.
Which this is where Ripley changes her mind about androids because, well, she still didn't trust him up until that point. She didn't trust him when he was going to go to the ship. Yeah, she's just not trusting of him until when he comes back and saves them. She then kind of loses that non-trust.
Yeah, and as they're talking about that, Bishop gets impaled through the chest by the tail of the alien queen who has somehow gotten on the ship. And this is a little bit of a plot hole. Because I'm not sure how that would be possible. Because you see the ship take off and there's no time for the queen to get on. But fine, it's awesome.
Well, the question here is there only one queen? Is there more than one queen? I don't know. I'm with you. It's kind of like, okay, I don't necessarily understand how, but
it's there.
Yeah.
Awesome. He gets impaled and ripped in half.
Yep.
And holy crap, it looks real.
Oh, God. Sure. Well, and especially thinking back to when that was not CGI.
Yeah, that was practical effects all the way.
I'd have to find out. I mean, but even with the first one, when when we talked about the stuff, the trivia and stuff about how they made the face huggers and how they did the chest burster scene, they're pretty damn good at this. So I'm sure that they had an interesting way to do it.
Ripley gets away. Newt hides in the under the grates. The alien queen almost captures Newt, and then Ripley shows up with the loader, and you get a chick fight.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, and I like the way that this one goes because there's the part where she's holding the queen back, but the inner chomper is right in her face. It's just like
great. That fight is intense as hell.
Mm-hmm. And what's fun is that they actually took the time to figure out a way to basically have hand-to-hand combat between Ripley and the queen, which, I mean, yes, you had the exoskeleton loader thing, but to come up with that idea was like, and the fact that they thought about it way at the beginning, because you didn't have to show the loading scene, but the key to the loading scene, this always is important to look back in a movie and see, does it work? They established that those things are there. They established she knows how to work it.
Yeah,
everything you need to make this last scene work. It's not and God,
it's not out of the blue. It's not just
it's not like Ray.
Yeah,
it's not like Ray just picking up something and saying, "Oh, look, I can do this."
I'm going to use the Force because
I can.
It's mythological.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and again, her, Newton Hicks, and Bishop, they go back to Earth. And
well, they don't. They go into cryo sleep.
Yeah.
And they're gonna go back to Earth, but that doesn't happen in Alien 3.
No, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah. Happy ending though. Hicks, Newt, and Bishop survives. Actually, you know what? They keep saying that Lance Henriksen is, has been killed by a Terminator and an alien and a Predator as well, but he doesn't die.
No, well, and
he's messed up, but he's still
his body doesn't work. Let me take that down. His body doesn't work anymore because it's ripped, but his actual CPU or whatever you want to say is still intact.
Yeah.
So yes, very different. So yeah, but that's true. All right, favorite scenes. I think we both can agree on one for sure. But you go ahead.
Favorite scenes. It's when the aliens come out of the ceiling near the end.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Vasquez and Hudson and all those actually get to kick some ass,
Mm-hmm.
fight back. But I think everything involving the aliens fighting the soldiers is awesome in this one.
It is. And again, stark contrast to the original.
Yeah, it was also fun seeing the derelict ship again.
Yep.
Lance Henriksen being ripped in half is insanely good.
It was done very, very well.
Yeah. I'm gonna go for the scene where the aliens gets into the complex and then they realize, oh shit, they're in the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Because that one it's a very intense scene, and you know something's wrong, but then all of a sudden Hicks looks up at the ceiling and shit, that's where they are, right?
Yep. The whole Spock theory of you have to think three-dimensionally, or not Spock, but well, yeah, I guess it is Spock in Wrath of Khan. Says he has a very two-dimensional way of thinking.
Yeah.
Aliens obviously don't. They're very three. Again, it does show smarts.
Yeah.
How intelligent these creatures are. Yes, there were some cool moves by the aliens. Miss Martin uses that's absolutely right. My favorite scene, absolutely hands down, is the final fight between Ripley and the alien queen. Again, kind of like how Predator ended.
Yeah.
You don't think that you're going to do hand-to-hand combat with something like that, but they found a way to make it work. And it makes sense. And it's not like, oh, this is so impossible. Again, yes, the movie in general is impossible. But within the movie, within the universe, within the box that we're stuck in during this time, what we're in, when you disbelieve, or when you're in a state of disbelieving or whatever, or, when you're enjoying the movie, it works within the movie. It makes sense. Here's this thing. She gets in it. It protects her enough, and it gives her enough strength that she can actually do this.
Also, as an extra little edge to that fight is if Ripley loses, Newt's dead too.
That's true. But again, that pays off, like I said, with the scene about her daughter, which we don't get in the original cut, but we do in the director's cut. And that's another one of my favorite scenes. When I first saw that, I was like, wow, this is very well done, because it gives you something you didn't even know about Ripley. We didn't know she had a daughter, but she obviously had a daughter before she left in the first movie.
Yeah, so it's like she couldn't be there for her own daughter, but she was there for Newt at least.
Exactly, because that's why it's so important, is that now we know why she refuses to leave her. Now we know why, because she's not willing to lose another quote unquote daughter. She's got to save her. So it makes so much more sense with the scene about her daughter.
Yeah.
Will Gentry. Hey, Will, how you doing? Aliens are stupid, thinking they can take on Hicks. Yes. All right.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. Jesus. Very nice, Steve. I love it when you do stuff like that. Trivia time. Guys, trivia is some of our favorite stuff we do. If you guys have anything to add that you know that might be trivia about this, of course, put it in the chat. Hicks is the man. Yes, Will, he is. Okay.
I actually have some trivia because I did homework today for this one. I have a little list.
Let's see what you say.
Well, like I said before, the spear gun from the first movie is visible in the start.
Mm-hmm.
It's next to the door when they open the pod Ripley's in. The cryo capsule scene where you see a bunch of those cryo capsules with the soldiers. It's actually only 6 because they couldn't afford more, so they use a mirror trick to make it look like there's more than 6.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't notice that when you watch the movie, right?
No.
The scream the alien makes are edited versions of baboon screams.
Yeah, I think I heard that before.
It took 14 to 16 people to operate the Alien Queen's movement, which is insane. James Remar was supposed to play Michael Biehn, but he had was supposed to play Hicks, but he had a falling out with Cameron and was replaced pretty much on the fly with Michael Biehn.
Mm-hmm.
And you can actually see James Remar in the movie, but you only see his back, so you can't tell it's him. There's the line about Bishop not being incapable of harming a human is from Isaac Asimov's 3 Laws of Robotics.
Yep.
It's directly from that one.
Yep.
There's 25 F-bombs dropped in this movie. Bill Paxton drops 18 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Lance Henriksen got food poisoning from that milky stuff he has to spew up.
Yep.
When he gets killed by the alien. It's made from milk and yogurt.
Mm-hmm.
And they had stored it under, the hot studio lights, which is a breeding ground for bacteria.
Yep.
He got really, really sick. James Horner wrote the score in 3 weeks. That's the trivia I have. Hope it's interesting.
We mentioned this in the first Alien, in our movie talk of Alien. There's a lot of KY jelly on the set. All the drool, all the stuff associated with the aliens themselves is basically KY jelly. Sigourney Weaver got a significant bump in salary. She was only paid $35,000 for the first film. She was paid $1 million for this one.
Yeah, and she earned it.
Oh yeah. Conan the Destroyer helped this movie get made. So James Cameron, after he wrote the script for the Terminator, he was approached by 20th Century Fox to write the Alien sequel. When he basically came up with an outline and gave it to them, and they were like, "No, this is not what we're wanting to do." He basically at that time they went into that long wait to make the sequel because they were trying to find somebody to write the script. Well, when he did that, Arnold Schwarzenegger, at the same time that he was cast for the Terminator, was cast for Conan the Barbarian. Well, that pushed Terminator back 9 months, and in that 9 months, he wrote an extra. Basically, he wrote the rest of the screenplay or the story for Alien 2 and also for First Blood Part 2, Rambo. And based off of what he wrote during that extra 9 months, Fox said, if the Terminator is successful, you are going to direct and write Aliens, or Alien 2 as it was going to be known at the time. So you can thank Conan the Destroyer for pushing back the Terminator 9 months and giving him time to write this movie. So how about that?
It was meant to be.
Exactly. And I know, I think a lot of people know this, but maybe not. But all the Marines in this movie, actually trained with Marines, which is why when you mentioned the hand model, Vasquez's actress never really got on. I think she was casted really after a lot of that training happened, if I remember right. But
the only one who didn't was Michael Biehn.
Hmm?
He showed up too late. They had already done the boot camp.
Yeah, but he had some experience, so I think it worked out. But they trained with Sigourney Weaver, William Hope, and Paul Reiser didn't join them because of their commitments. But the characters weren't supposed to be trained soldiers anyway. So it's according to what I read, all of them made it, but I know a few of them didn't. But I don't know.
The guy who played Apone helped with the training because he was a veteran.
Mm-hmm.
He was also a priest, I think.
I think you're right. I'd have to go dig into that. If you think you've seen a lot of the scenes from Aliens in other movies or in another movie, you're probably right. It was done at a defunct power station in Acton Lane, England, and that was used in Batman 1989 as Axis Chemicals. Yeah. Let's see here. Difference between the novel.
Will Gentry, the bastard, is saying I failed at trivia. Well, I take criticism. It's okay.
How'd you fail?
I don't know.
Differences between the book and the movie. Newt's about 12 in the movie. She's 6 in the book. Ripley is more despondent after the tribunal, withdrawn and depressed, living in a filthy apartment and clearly traumatized by her past. In the movie, of course, she's a lot tougher. But I think you see that more again when they add the scene about her daughter. I think I think you see that a lot more. And again, when you see it, you're like, this should have been left in, but the movie works without it.
It works, but it's, to everyone watching, if you have an option, watch the director's cut instead of the regular one. If you haven't seen it before,
watch it. I always say watch a director's cut because while some of them don't work, a lot more often than not, they're much better because it is, again, exactly what it's called. It's the director's vision, full-on vision of what they wanted. Best case scenario or best example of that, probably Blade Runner. Every time I see it redone, it does seem to work a little better in the vision that I think Ripley or that and now I can't remember.
Well, the Lord of the Rings as well.
Oh yes, yeah, for sure.
And Kingdom of Heaven.
Yep,
that one's pretty damn good if you watch the director's cut.
Exactly. Angela Straven's correct too. Watchmen director's cut is pretty damn good. Ripley immediately recognizes the bishop is an android. That she still doesn't confront him until later. The scene with the knife trick isn't in the book either. There are several colonists still alive, not just one from in the book. Ripley opens fire immediately on the queen in the book.
Usually the book is based on an early draft of the script.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, and you mentioned already early on about the Terminator was practice.
Yeah.
It is the only acting that Carrie Hine, who played young Newt, ever did.
Yeah, she's a teacher now, and she's still friends with Sigourney Weaver. They keep in touch.
Well,
it's very cool.
And that's another thing that, again, I think it's cool if you watch behind the scenes stuff with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Here's this big, tough guy, but anytime he's around kids, they love him behind the scenes. He's such a kid person. It's not even funny. I mean, the guy's, I don't know what his kids think of him, but it just looks like he's an awesome dad type guy. Because in Terminator 2, he was like that. But then you find out that Sigourney Weaver during this movie, her and the actress that played Newt were very close on set. And obviously, because they're still friends, it's still, you know.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned the derelict ship is the exact same one. The model that they used for that is the exact same as the original one.
Yeah.
Cameron had to squelch a mutiny on the set. We hear about this a lot.
Yeah, Cameron and mutinies.
Well, not just that, but not even for him. George Lucas talks about it when he works at Pinewood. He said, you just got to learn how to deal with the crew because they're all unionized. And some of the workers resent the 14-hour days and have no idea what Cameron was capable of. They thought he was over his head. In particular, the first assistant director thought he should be directing Aliens. He mocked Cameron, called him governor, rolled his eyes at him, and got himself fired for insubordination. The first assistant director behaved respectfully, and things were better after that. The new one. So, but you hear about it because Lucas has talked about how he had to get used to giving, tea breaks and all this stuff that he wasn't used to.
Yeah, that's what you get if you work with bloody Englishmen like Will Gentry.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Bad Bunny, what's going on? Good to see you there. Sigourney Weaver didn't want to use a gun. She's not a fan of them. She lobbied Cameron to let Ripley go the entire film without using one. Cameron talked her into it after taking her to a shooting range and showing her how fun it could be. And then on the DVD commentary, he jokes, another liberal bites the dust. And then, like you said, Gale Ann Hurd's hands make a cameo. And you mentioned James Horner with the 3 weeks. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of trivia on these things, but that's good. I think we covered a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Here's some trivia for you. Rumor has it, or rather, rumor had it that in the 90s, when I was at school, that the design for the alien was based upon the upside down upon an upside down vagina. I don't know. I never looked at it that way. All right, let's get to this right here. Final thoughts and ratings. I'll let you go first, please, Stig.
Epic classic, flawless in my opinion. It has aged incredibly well. More so than most movies, and I think more than a lot of movies made today will age well as well. All the actors are top notch. The score is terrific. Cameron does a stellar job. Gets a 5 out of 5 from me.
Okay. This is where we're gonna get to. I don't know. I don't want to call it differences. Are you basing this off of the director's cut? Obviously, I guess you are.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to go and I'll do the director's cut first. I'll give it that 5 out of 5 too, because there's parts in it that needed to be there. I think makes a lot more sense when you watch it. The original, I say 4.5 because it isn't enough to ruin the movie. But when you see the director's cut, it's like, oh, okay. And now the Newt and her thing makes a lot more sense. There's motivation there for her, a lot more than you would think.
Yeah, but we are going by the best version of the movie always, because we did that for Blade Runner.
You're right. You're right. So, okay. Well, we'll definitely go 5 out of 5 then. I'll agree with you. The graphics, the special effects, the up pace of this movie. Once it starts going, it goes, and it's a whirlwind.
Huge shout out to the models.
Yes. I'm not even sure who did the creature effects.
Well, it's based on Geiger's work.
Yeah.
So he probably gets credits for that.
Where the hell? Visual effects was.
Will Gentry is actually right though, because the face hugger was actually based on a vagina.
Yes, yeah, I know.
Which is why if you try to pull it off, you muffocate.
Robert and Dennis Skotak were the visual effects supervisors. So interesting. But yes, I mean, again, the scene with Bishop is amazing. However, they did that. I'll have to go back and actually look up how they did that because it was crazy. But I just like the pace of this film, and it's so different from the original, but it works so well with the original. Which again is always important in sequels. So I don't think this is absolutely the as good as Terminator 2 as a sequel, because it's a standalone movie in and of itself too. I mean, I guess Terminator 2 can work as a standalone, but as a sequel, Terminator 2 is much better. But this really works well as a sequel. So we get a 10. I think this is the second movie we've done 10 on.
Third, I think, because I think we gave Conan a 10 too.
You're right. I think we did. So yeah. I want to thank everybody who was in the chat today. Thank you very much. Again, Tommy, if you come back and watch this, I do send my condolences to you. I lost my father almost 4 years ago. It sucks. Bad Bunny. How? Why would anyone want to know that? Just that's trivia. So 10 out of 10. With that said, Stig, tell everybody where you can be found and a little bit about yourself.
Just a friend of a lot of YouTubers. Got a tiny channel myself that I don't do much with, except upload stuff. Old cartoons and movies and stuff. And sometimes I do top 10 5 lists.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually when Tom from Midnight's Edge pesters me into.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not from Sweden, Bad Bunny, you piece of shit.
Oh.
Other than that, I'm on Sporking's channel now and again, talking about Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
Christie's channel on Saturdays for the top 10 movie things.
Mm-hmm.
And on Laura's channel, OG Star Wars, talking about Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And here. So that's where I can be found, usually.
Absolutely. But thank you again for stopping by. Everybody in the chat, guys, check it out. We try to do these now more regularly. We were on like a good 9-month. No, it was like every 3 months we were doing them. I think we've done now 6 or so in the past like 2 months or so. We're trying to get them out more regularly for you guys. Let us know. I mean,
Will Gentry, stop doing drugs when you're on YouTube and in the chat. It's not a good look.
Miss Martin Muses, you're absolutely welcome. We love doing these. Stig and I both. I think I'm speaking for you. I'm sorry. It's
fun. That's why I'm here.
Yeah. I think we like the live versions better than the recorded versions. If you'd like, we were talking about this before we started the stream, but let us know either in the DMs of Stig or myself, or email me, chrisknight at therealreview3000, or after this is put up as a video, you can put it in the comments. Let us know if you prefer the live versions of these. I think both Stig and I like it. We like interacting with you guys.
Yeah, I absolutely like the interaction with the chat, except for Bad Bunny and Will Gentry.
Oh, well.
But it's all good.
Yeah. But I was talking to Steve beforehand. We might go back and redo some of the other ones we've done live. And with the new format that we've got, I think it works a lot better. So yeah, let us know what you think. If you like the live stuff, go ahead and tell other people about it. We don't really announce when we're going to do it. It's basically Stig and my schedule when it matches up. So we try to do these as often as we possibly can, but we put a tweet out an hour or so before we do it. But if you see it, tell some people to come on by and check it out. And after this is over, tell people, hey guys, go over there to the Real Review 3000 and check these out. They're all in a playlist together. And honest to God, I will say this, Stig, it's great to do these with you. You bring a lot to the table. I really appreciate it. So guys, understand that Stig, if I was doing this with anybody else, I'm not sure that I'd get the same show. So this is very much a Stig thing. And
no. It's your channel and your show. I'm here as a co-pilot.
Well, that's fine. You're a great co-pilot. If I were to die of a heart attack right now, I'm sure you could land the plane just fine.
Fly, yes. Land, no. But I think we're doing Beverly Hills Cop next.
Yes, I do believe that's what we're doing. So, yeah. Guys, check that out. I will try to give you guys more of a heads up. So, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Stig. And with that said, I guess we say goodbye. Everybody, goodbye.
Take care and be well.
Bye-bye. Hey, guys. Thanks for checking us out. Be sure to subscribe to both channels. And make sure to check out our friends in the Fandom Minutes. You can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and BitChute. And you can also send us an email at Sean@SeanStackHouseReacts.com and chrisknight at TheRealReview3000.com. And be sure to swing by our Teespring store to pick up some awesome merchandise.